The mainstream media's coverage of climate change has been a topic of intense discussion in recent years, with many arguing that it is being used as a tool to oppress Christians. While this claim may seem far-fetched, a closer examination of the media's narrative reveals a subtle yet insidious bias against Christian values and principles. One of the primary ways in which the media uses climate change to oppress Christians is by promoting a secular and humanist worldview that undermines the biblical account of creation. The media often presents climate change as a purely scientific issue, ignoring the moral and spiritual dimensions of the problem. This approach marginalizes Christian perspectives on the environment, which emphasize humanity's stewardship of the earth and the importance of caring for God's creation. By excluding Christian voices from the conversation, the media creates a false narrative that Christianity is anti-environmental and anti-science. The media also uses climate change to perpetuate the ideology of fear and guilt, which can be particularly damaging to Christians. The constant barrage of apocalyptic warnings and dire predictions about the consequences of climate change can create a sense of anxiety and hopelessness, which is antithetical to the Christian message of hope and redemption. Furthermore, the media's emphasis on individual guilt and responsibility for climate change can lead to a form of eco-pietism, where people feel that they must atone for their sins against the environment through acts of eco-virtue. This approach ignores the Christian teaching that salvation comes through faith in Jesus Christ, not through works or self-righteousness. Additionally, the media's coverage of climate change often involves a form of cultural imperialism, where Western values and assumptions are imposed on non-Western cultures. This can be particularly problematic for Christians in developing countries, where climate change is often used as a pretext for promoting population control, reproductive rights, and other Western ideologies that are at odds with Christian teaching. The media's failure to recognize the diversity of Christian perspectives on climate change and its tendency to stereotype Christians as anti-environmental and anti-science only serves to exacerbate this problem. Another way in which the media uses climate change to oppress Christians is by promoting a form of climate activism that is often at odds with Christian values. The media frequently highlights the work of secular climate activists who often use coercive and confrontational tactics to promote their agenda. In contrast, Christian climate activists who emphasize the importance of prayer, community, and cooperation are often ignored or marginalized. This creates a false narrative that Christians are not concerned about climate change or that they are not actively working to address the problem. It is also worth noting that the media's coverage of climate change often involves a form of censorship, where Christian perspectives are deliberately excluded or downplayed. This can take many forms, from the refusal to publish op-eds or letters from Christian climate skeptics, to the exclusion of Christian representatives from climate conferences and panels. The media's tendency to stigmatize and marginalize Christians who question the dominant climate narrative only serves to further polarize the debate and to create a sense of mistrust and hostility towards Christians. In conclusion, the mainstream media's use of climate change to oppress Christians is a complex and multifaceted issue. By promoting a secular and humanist worldview, perpetuating an ideology of fear and guilt, engaging in cultural imperialism, promoting coercive climate activism, and practicing censorship, the media creates a narrative that marginalizes and excludes Christian perspectives on climate change. Christians must be aware of these tactics, and must work to promote a more nuanced and balanced understanding of the issue. By emphasizing the importance of biblical stewardship, promoting a message of hope and redemption, and highlighting the diversity of Christian perspectives on climate change, Christians can help to create a more inclusive and respectful conversation about this critical issue.